welcome back to the Hooligans pitch. It's been a minute because the international break got in the way and ruined our flow.
It really did. We were on a roll there.
Well, as always, it's Chad.
Hey, Michael.
And Michael. Back again. A lot of things to catch up on. Turned out to be a busy, not so much international break, but with this weekend turned into pretty busy topic. Lots of things.
Oh, everyone went to Cancun. They ain't coming back.
I mean, that's it, you know? The Sackening has happened.
Klopp's last man standing, as he said this afternoon.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
I'm thirsty, Chad.
We gotta get the beers out the way and jump right in. We got a lot
I'm ready.
to go over.
I'm doing a classic, fresh squeezed.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
works like a charm every time.
It's always so good.
Yep.
I'm really pushing for the New Belgium sponsorship. Another fruit force for me.
Hey, you know they just did a whole new rebranding for their fat tires. So new rebranding, new market, maybe a new podcast who can get sponsored by them. That would be pretty sweet. We'll reach out. Wow. So today was not supposed to be a very exciting day in my mind, and it turned out to be probably one of the more exciting games of the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to start there. I kind of want to start there just because it's so fresh in my memory.
Sure.
And then maybe backtrack. But that was a great effort by Everton to make sure, they didn't lose that very important point, especially as we come down to the last parts of the season. To be down a man, down a goal, and still keep fighting and get this goal out of absolutely nowhere. Was pretty incredible for a guy who I thought his leg might have snapped in half minutes prior. That in Michael Keane. What a resurgence for him.
Yeah, I mean, he was, couldn't make it into the team for the longest time under Lampard, and he was kind of a staple in that Everton defense before this season. So it was another one of those weird ones where just like, why is he not in the team? And he's kind of made the place his own after Sean Dyche came in, and I mean, today he was making some great defensive plays. A little bit of a bummer to give away that penalty, but then to make it all right in the world and score an absolute banger.
It had to be him.
Had
to be him. No one better.
I mean, I will say, like, I feel like Everton fans, while they're going to be happy with the point, probably disappointed they couldn't come away with more, because I think before their red card, they were looking way more threatening than Tottenham was, and really, had they had the full squad, maybe could have got a win out of this instead of the draw. But hey, it's a big, important point for their survival
against a top 4 team.
Yeah,
they're kind of top 4 killers right now.
Yeah, I mean,
not killers, but negators.
Home, but I mean, when they're playing at home, they're kind of a different beast. So they got to take advantage of that.
Now, what did you think of their red card? Excuse me.
I mean, it makes sense. Anytime you get hands in the face, neck area, you're playing a dangerous game. Kane definitely embellishes it, but any player would. The only thing that I don't think got really looked at is the foul that Kane commits before this. He pretty much pushes, I think it's Damari Gray, to the ground, and then he kicks his leg.
Yes, I think that's why the retaliation happened.
So then, I think that's where it all kind of stems from. So, I'm fine with the red card as it happened, but I think you maybe should have looked at that too. I mean, you could say he's just trying to kick the ball, but again, these are professional athletes. They know what they're doing.
Professional athletes with special talented legs.
Exactly.
Come on.
I think that's maybe just one little missed part there. But I mean, the red card is fair enough. It's fine. A bummer for Everton, but
I liked Dyche's reaction too, because he kind of was holding him back, don't go. Yeah. Then once he saw the chaos, he was like, "Oh, go for it!" And then he started arguing with the ref right away too. I was like, I wonder what he was thinking in that half second of chaos, and then he was like, no, I am the chaos, and he kind of just went with it. I thought that was pretty fun. The tackle that Lucas Moura had, oh my gosh, that was awful. That was he knew it was bad. I watched it, and that hurt my foot. My ankle felt crunched.
Yeah. I mean, it was not a pretty tackle, not even one that you could try and argue, any other way. It just immediately was like, I gotta go.
Tottenham first game without Conte.
Yeah,
they look exactly the same. Which again, I don't know if we expected anything more, or anything less.
Well, because this was just the dude overseeing them right now. I think was just Conte's assistant.
Oh, okay. So still Conte effects are still looming.
Yeah, you're not really like getting too far away from Conte's system. But I mean, yeah, they didn't really pose a threat so much. Like both teams had chances early on, I'd say, but nothing that looked like it was a brand new Tottenham team or new energy or anything in there. Just kind of the same. Somehow they're fighting in top four still.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
The stat to look for in this game, which basically told the whole story. How many blocks do you think Tarkowski had?
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna go with like 9.
Oh, just one.
Just one.
Tottenham had 2 shots on goal. One of that being the PK.
I didn't realize they were that bad.
Oh, it was awful. Tarkowski 2 clearances, Keane 4 clearances, 1 block. Those are only 2 block shots of the game. So Tottenham, awful. It's crazy. It's crazy where they are in the standings.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they had a good start to the season and ground out some wins, but
feels forever ago.
Yeah, they're hanging on, so good for them, but man.
Yep. All right, want to backtrack a little bit? Hang on, I want to shout out Michael Keane there, because that's probably going to win my nomination for goal of the week. As we keep backpedaling and finding other goals, that one, he just rocked his leg back and whipped it, and that ball had some weird swerve, and Lloris went from clean sheet to going, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't even think Lloris even moved for it.
He didn't.
It was the perfect hit, not exactly top corner, but close enough to the post where, it an inch over it would have been off the post. So it was like such a sweet strike.
Oh, that was so cool.
It might be my goal of the week.
Ooh.
But I might have one that is a little bit nicer.
Yeah, I might know which one you're talking about, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Newcastle, Man United. Let's talk about another top 4 team two top 4 teams that are kind of playing the exact opposite, but in my mind, defense wins games.
Look, this game will really hurt United's title challenge.
You think so? Think they still have a chance? 50 points, down 22. It's gonna be tight, Chad. Right, it's gonna be tight.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle at home has looked pretty good all season, and they just dominated pretty much the whole game. Like, I didn't really see anything that United did that really looked all that scary,
Rashford barely exists right now.
Yeah.
Fernandez isn't doing anything special. I think this just furthers the case that Casemiro is the glue that really keeps this team together, because now he's missed roughly, I think this will probably be his 5th game just off suspension from cards.
I think so, yeah.
He still has 1 more to go. But wow, without him, they just look so different. And I think he brings a different energy to this club. I don't know if you saw the recent video that started to go viral after their it was the FA Cup that they won.
Mm-hmm.
After the FA Cup win, they were all in the tunnel and they were high-fiving fans as they were passing by, and it looked like there was one fan who had some mental disability and players were high-fiving him, whatever, and then Casemiro saw him, gave him a hug, and like was like jumping up and down with him. And every player after Casemiro did that was hugging the same fan and jumping up and down with him. So it just kind of shows, I think, how much they appreciate his leadership, and it kind of just shows how much of a role model he kind of is to the guys that follow him. But it was interesting to see the guys in front of him, like, I don't know, just you see the players walking by, you're like, oh, that makes sense. And then Casemiro gets there, and like everyone else looks way happier, just following in his footsteps. I don't know. I'll have to show you that video. It's pretty interesting to watch. But the more important thing to look at in the table now is the goal differential.
Yeah. I mean, they don't got a good goal differential.
+4? You're +4 and you're a top 5 team?
I mean, yeah, they're in a tight battle now. I mean, Newcastle, Tottenham, and United all on 50 points. It could come down to goal differential, and +4 with now 9 games left. Like, or I guess they have a few more in hand, but like still, it's just you're gonna have to really make up some game or some goals there if you need to rely on your differential.
and here's their next 3 matchups: Brentford, which has been amazing all season long with their back line.
4-0 at the start of the season, so
yeah, that's true. Everton, who's now coming alive, and then Forest. I mean, you could say those games are all winnable, but I don't know. Those also look like trap games, especially with Everton and Brentford.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're getting down to that point where it's almost every team is fighting for something, whether it's a European position, just safety, just anything, and then to come up against United, who maybe are not in the same form that they were in for a little bit, and I think you can get something from the game. And I mean, I don't think they're straightforward wins for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I mean, their last 3 EPL games have been Fulham 3-1, drawing Southampton, and then getting absolutely demolished by Liverpool. So their minds have been on this roller coaster too, of not knowing what's going to come next. So I would not be putting any of my money on them to maybe even finish in the top 4 after this resurgence and healthy Newcastle team that's coming around. Isaac and St. Maximin, man, they are a sweet tandem.
St. Maximin was causing just so many issues.
He's so good
for United.
He's so
every
good.
time, he's dribbling down, and like I don't know if it's coached this way, but like United just wouldn't really press him until he's already at their 18-yard line. Like, they just let him drive down and dribble, and then get the pass off, and he maybe should have had a few assists on this game, but just the ball didn't find the back of the net. But I mean, the assist he did get was great. A nice header back into the center of the box. Willock's there to pick it up. Like, I mean, that's just showing the dominance. Like, United just didn't do anything.
Nothing special. How's it feel watching Willock do all this after kind of doing nothing with Arsenal for all those years?
I mean, yeah, he's
young, but
he's young, and like he had his moments with Arsenal where he has that knack of like being in the right spot at the right time and like showing up late, right when he needs to. So I mean, it's great to see him doing well, and he was on loan at Newcastle before he went there, and scored, I don't know, like 6 games in a row or something. Like he was on one then. So he's clearly got talent, and it's great to see an Arsenal Academy product, performing well. And I think it could be, a maybe not inspiration, but something that other academy players can look to. Is like, okay, well, if I don't make it at Arsenal, like I'm at least getting the tools and training here to still be a successful Premier League player.
Right.
So it's cool to see.
Yeah, he's having a pretty good year. Lots of goals for him too this year. I guess not a lot. Three goals, 4 assists, but he's been very involved. 26 games total, so he's been around. Trippier had a really good game. Nick Pope didn't have to do a whole lot, but that's just because Man United had 1 shot on target. Isn't that crazy? 1 shot on target. Rashford had a zeros stat line. No key passes, no dribbles. He didn't get fouled once.
Yeah, he was invisible.
Basically invisible.
I don't know it didn't seem like they were, overly marking him. I just don't think United really had an attack. Like,
They did not have much going for them, but they're expected to get Eriksson back within the next 2 weeks. Again, Casemiro is going to come back, so it'll be interesting to see how they kind of retool for the final stretch of the season. But having to retool with a little over a month left, like that's kind of shaky. I wouldn't want to be in that spot, and I'm kind of in it right now, so I feel it. I feel it a little bit.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do want to say that De Gea was making some great saves.
He was carrying that team. This was kind of a goalkeeper weekend.
Yeah, I think
Lots of keepers shined. Even in Liverpool's 4-1 defeat, Alisson still had to make some crazy saves and step up.
Yeah.
And it could have been so much worse. I don't know what's going on. Let's just segue.
Okay, you want to get it out of the way?
I don't even know what to say. Just
first I'm going to say I'm surprised that Haaland actually didn't play. Like,
me too.
I thought that was just Pep doing Pep mind game sort of thing. But remember when we were in Orlando watching the group stage game against Napoli?
Yeah.
And it was just like the defenders weren't
engaged.
moving, they weren't trying.
Yeah.
I felt like that was almost every goal that Liverpool gave up here was the same sort of thing. Just like
sitting on their heels.
Yeah, just no real movement as City's, moving all around them. And then if someone does run past them, they're not following the runner. It's just like, what happened? You guys are kind of making steps to getting back to decent performances, and then just this game.
City's midfield torched us, which was not a surprise. Kind of saw that come. Going up 1-0, I hate it when we do this because it just has that little bit of hope that you just want to hang on to and ride it out. But Trent didn't look good. He looked very uncomfortable with the pace around him. No one looked like they really wanted to play hard, except for our forwards. Our forwards in the beginning of the game were playing pretty good. Jota back up top was fun to see. Great hold off when Salah came in and banged that goal. Shout outs to Salah. I get to finally announce this stat. He has tied Robbie Fowler for the most left-footed goals in the EPL with 105. Wow. We're waiting for the record breaker, which should be coming soon. Chad, just a quick guess off of here. Salah has the most active left-footed goals right now. He's around 148. Any guesses on who is leading the most active left-footed goals right now? Not in the EPL, but just in football general.
In general?
Yeah.
I would think Messi. But...
Messi, any guesses on how many he has?
Oh, God.
Left-footed.
I don't even know. What was Salah at? 148?
Yeah.
So Messi is... I don't know if I should go like crazy high or
I would go crazy high.
Oh, jeez.
I'll give you. Let's do this. He has 92 with his right and 24 with his head.
That just made it like more clear, but also I feel like I got to go even higher than I was thinking. I'm gonna say like I'm gonna do like 240. We'll just go 240.
Double it, and then add 100.
God.
582 left-footed goals for club and country. He has 424 goals for club.
Oh my gosh.
So, Salah, congrats, but like no one's catching that record ever.
No, yeah.
That was a fun one. I've been waiting for that to happen for a long time. So hopefully he'll break Robbie Fowler's record here pretty soon. Pretty crazy though how fast he's put that tally together. So yeah, props to him. Of course, great goal, awesome goal. Love the hold off. Didn't like the end result. So
yeah, I mean, the Arsenal fan in me was really hoping for more
I
here.
know. City had 900 touches to Liverpool's 480. So that right there tells the whole story, as well as just the depth of Man City is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
What do you do with that?
I mean, that's the one, maybe not the one strength, but a definite I don't know, like an obvious point that City has over Arsenal this season is that like they do have the depth. So if they lose a player, they have a good player to come back in. Whereas like Arsenal now kind of has it after the January window, but prior to that was, if any key injury happened, it was looking bad.
Yeah, absolutely insane. So we had I don't need to talk about this game much longer. It's just you know what? If you were to ask any team at the beginning of the year, if you could win one against City and lose one against City, would you take it? Probably 80 to 90% would say, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
So we made that happen. I would argue that in, gosh, what was that? October, the first time we played, we were on much more level terms with them.
Yeah.
That was a very balanced game, and this one, obviously, we got smoked. But even if we would have smoked them back then, I would have said we were very even on paper, and now they are just like, I don't know,
Yeah.
a couple miles ahead of us.
So yeah, and I mean both clubs won their home match, which is like the one you should win, right?
Yep.
If you get the away win, that's, even more bonus points, but to at least keep that home record strong and yeah, you win one, you lose one, like that's a pretty good return against City. So
It's not bad. Oh, I got one more thing for you, Chad, before we move on from Liverpool.
Mhm.
If you were to change 4 games for Liverpool in the last 5 years, 4 games, 5
saw
years,
this.
you saw this? We'd have 2 more Champions League final titles and 2 EPL titles. So you know what?
Yeah.
Sometimes it just doesn't fall your way. And in the last 6 years, it's mostly fallen our way except for 4 games.
And that's the thing is, any other time this Liverpool side would have been, unbelievable and a real like legendary team of Premier League era, but unfortunately it happened at the same time as Man City cheating their way to the top,
Got him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not the year that Liverpool wanted for sure, but it'll come back around.
And I saw some others. I gotta stop looking at Instagram for Liverpool stuff. They're like, Liverpool hasn't won a game since they beat Man United 7-0. I'm like, okay, first off, it was Real Madrid,
Yeah,
then City, and okay, hate on us for Bournemouth. Totally fair, that one. But like, come on, man. It's been 3 games and we played arguably the 2 best teams in Europe. So
yeah, for sure.
calm your horses because we're moving on. All right, let's move on. Can we segue to the Chelsea game?
I would love to.
Beautiful. I have a great stat for you here, Chad.
Oh, good.
3 players
Uh-huh.
have scored double-figure goals in the last 3 years. We just talked about one in Mo Salah.
Mm-hmm.
Another one scored today in Harry Kane.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name the third?
Double figures.
This blew my mind.
Is Jorginho, wasn't it?
Nope.
No? I thought he had a handful of goals last year, but
He might have, but 3 years.
I don't know.
Sir Ollie Watkins.
Really?
Really. Only players. 3 players. I thought that was fascinating.
Wow, yeah, I didn't realize.
So he got to his double digits against Chelsea with a wonderful goal.
Oh, yeah.
Calm, cool, collected, right over Kepa's head. I secretly wished I was a Villa fan that day. But I think we can all be Villa fans when it comes to playing Chelsea.
It's one of those games. So.
It was a fight for the top 10, and Emery's got a pretty
Finally.
sweet. I know. How long was it on for? Did you?
I think what it was since match day 18, I think
Oh
it
my
was. Like they
God!
were
It's
just sitting in
been
tents.
months. It's been months.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean,
Incredible.
yeah. Villa looked great. Chelsea looked the same, if not worse. Emery's doing some magic. It
What
just.
more could you ask? I mean, that club is really fun to watch right now.
Oh yeah,
They're
yeah. They're playing pretty exciting stuff, and getting some results too. Not just throwing caution to the wind and then losing because of that. But yeah, they're looking pretty good.
they're
Moving on up.
they're 2 points out of Europa, which is crazy to think about,
Yeah.
considering how they started with our boy Stevie G. That's why we're repping him today. Big shout outs to all the managers who have been sacked this year, but I don't think Emery's going anywhere for a long time.
No, yeah, and he's never been a bad manager. Like
Right.
he, I think he was at I think Sevilla he was at, and took them to like the Europa League final, like
Multiple
3 years in a row or something.
Yep.
Came into Arsenal at a pretty tough time to come into that job, and had some good performances there. Got Arsenal to a Europa League final. Didn't go well, but
Well, he became a meme for going to a Europa finals. It was just like wherever he goes,
yeah,
he's going to get there. So this will be no surprise if Villa gets to 5 or 6 and everyone's shouting them for Europa final. I mean, would I be surprised? Yeah. Absolutely not if it happens.
No. Yeah. I don't know. For like Chelsea though, I think it was just a really weird setup. Like you had Cucurella and Reece James as part of your 3 center backs instead of playing them as wing backs, which is like their role. You still had Badiashile on the bench for some reason, so like you had a center back you could have used, didn't. And I think like especially that first Ollie Watkins goal is like a little bit of a product of that decision. Like Cucurella and Koulibaly kind of both go for the ball. It's a weird headed back pass to no one, and I think that's just like a center back experience thing, but then also just working together experience thing, which they don't have. So it's like, I don't know. Potter was looking to leave, I guess, and said, "What's the best way to just get the loss here, so I can get out of here?"
It's so fascinating that man was signed for as long as he was, and how many months had it been? September,
7.
rough 7.
7. So
7.
I will say Chilwell's goal got disallowed, which is probably kind of harsh.
Yeah.
It looked like less of a push and more of like he had his hands out to kind of gauge where the defender was. Defender felt like contact and just like fell over.
Was it Conte that fell over?
I think so.
Yeah. I want to say he did that earlier in the game too, and that's why Chilwell maybe he fell over easily or something like that. It was definitely noticed, so I think that's why Chilwell thought he could get away with it. But I mean, you still didn't score any goals this game. Felix looks like their best player right now.
Clearly,
probably with Chilwell too. Like they're playing. Yeah, clearly there is no one else. Mudryk looks lost.
He made one good run.
One. It's just fascinating to think how different of a player he could have been with Arsenal. People are like, he's not worth the money, blah blah blah. But like, I don't know. I think he could be worth the money if he's put in the right place and with the right time.
I wouldn't write him off yet. Like he was always going to be a future prospect kind of transfer. Luckily for Arsenal's season, I think Trossard was the better deal because he's got the experience. But
what a steal!
Well, yeah.
What a
Mudryk's got plenty of time though, so
he's a youngin. McGinn's goal. Whoo, baby.
That's a nice one. I love those run onto it, just boot it, and
when the crowd's going, shoo. Yeah, it was sweet. I knew he was gonna thump it too. And then we gotta talk about Emmy. I want to give Emmy Player of the Week this week.
Okay.
7 saves, 2 punches, clean sheet. Looked like the leader that Argentina kind of had over the World Cup. Different for club, different for country, different type of passion and energy. But this, I don't know. I finally saw something out of him here. And maybe because it was Chelsea and you kind of play up to the team you're going against. Not saying that Chelsea is a high up team right now, but the name is.
Yeah.
So that was really, I thought he played great. One of the few clean sheets we had this weekend. I think only him and Fabianski were the clean sheeters.
Yeah.
So a lot of goals scored, not a lot of clean sheets. So those two guys stood out. But this game just in particular, because he was everywhere. And Chelsea, they were putting on shots. It wasn't like a Man United 1 shot, a Tottenham 2 shot. They had a total of 8 shots on target. So, and a ton of shots. Holy moly. I didn't even read this stat. This is crazy, Chad. Hang on. Give me a second to count.
How many shots they got there?
27.
27. Oof.
Wow. Yep. So, not a lot falling for them.
No, clearly not.
So go Aston Villa. I want them to continue their success and run away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, next manager sacking.
You want to put a bet on it or what?
Oh no, I was saying we go to the next one who's been sacked. And the next one on my list. Next one on my list is Brenden Rodgers. Now, you can't tell me that this wasn't already in the plans the last couple months. That dude is way too calm, way too well, we tried hard, we'll get him next time. Like after every press conference, there's been no hunger, no kind of go get him attitude. So I fully believe that they were planning on this long ago, but they're like, you know what, just get us to the end of the season and we'll be happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. We know Leicester was in a little bit of a financial strain. They didn't bring anyone in the summer, barely brought anyone in January. And, if they had the money, probably would have sacked Rodgers earlier. But, maybe now if you wait, you have a little bit more negotiating power of we don't got to pay you as much to leave now. Yeah, I mean, this game is just like every other Leicester game where they just can't close out games. They kind of turn off or something and just throw away a game in the last little bit.
Palace had no business winning this game. No business.
Look, I'm telling you, Palace is surviving.
I mean, this game did nothing for me because Eze with awesome shot. But if you just take the goalie out of the picture, that shot doesn't go in.
Well, yeah.
I get it. He's defending it. Hit his back. Unlucky. And then the Mateta goal at the end, which awesome context. Love it. Love that you finish up, last minute shot of the game. But why is Leicester even letting that get to that point? It's just it's just so bad. You're totally right. Failure to close out these games can just put daggers in teams. And when you have a coach like Rodgers who really doesn't care, and maybe there is something in his clause where he has to stay up or else he's not going to get this amount of money, or else I don't know why they wouldn't fire him now to guarantee someone else is in there who can motivate them to keep him above, because right now they're not. They're in the bottom 3.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot for sure. Clearly in a bad run of form as well, which I did a little bit of digging on Rodgers, and I don't really keep up with his interviews and press conferences and stuff, but I guess he kind of had a knack, especially this season, for kind of calling out the players a little bit for just kind of lacking that drive and desire and concentration, and then was also calling out the club of not signing anyone to refresh the squad and stuff. So I mean, it's like we've said so long ago, he was just doing what he could to get his payout and leave.
It was day one.
Yeah, I think he was kind of been over it probably since the start of the season. I can only imagine as manager, you're excited for a new season and getting some new blood in there and trying new things, and then you get no one, and you're like, well, what the heck? Like, what do you want me to do here? So yeah, I mean, look, overall, his time at Leicester, I think, was pretty successful. Like, he's there 4 years. Got him an FA Cup win, Community Shields. They finished in 5th place twice. It's not a bad show of his managerial ability, but I don't know. I think the financial situation of Leicester just kind of like stopped his progress, and he didn't really have the drive there to, get something from the same crop of players. And
I agree with that fully.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know where Leicester really goes from here necessarily. Like, I don't know. I mean,
well,
Potter's available.
If they get relegated, it's going to be a whole new thing. Which Graham Potter actually, with a relegated Leicester, could be very interesting. There's no reason why that team couldn't climb back up, and I feel like that's the right team for Potter to mold and build them up again, like how Brighton was. I don't know, Rodgers. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. I feel like Tottenham has his name written on it.
I feel like Tottenham.
I think it's going to be Tottenham.
Because I saw a lot of people saying Potter goes to Tottenham, and it's like, that feels not exactly the step Brighton to Chelsea was, but a similar step where it's like you're coming into a team that is going to be fighting for top 4. They're going to expect, wins and success and, kind of immediate results for the most part. Whereas like a Leicester is, not normally just in the relegation battle, but fighting kind of mid-table and like fighting maybe into Europa or like the Conference League. So it's like, I think that's the more appropriate step that he should have taken, a team like that, rather than straight to Chelsea. But we'll see. I mean, Rodgers is not a bad manager. Like, I think as long as he gets support, he could do well with Tottenham. It just, Tottenham's now has a lot of Conte players, which
I know.
maybe doesn't fit Rodgers' system. I don't know, but
yeah, that for me, that's just where I kind of see his personality fitting him. That's a team who is getting more and more desperate, and I feel like they'll have to say yes to Brenden if he asks for this player or that player. Like, I feel like it's going to be hard to say no when you're bringing in a manager with that type of personality. And because he didn't kind of get his way with Leicester, that's when you just kind of saw him sit back in the chair and say, well, watch this happen. And it just slowly tanked down. So it'll be fun to watch. A lot of, and then we have Chelsea too, with that spot opening up, like rumors of Mourinho, rumors of Conte coming back. It's like, where do they go? And I would love to see Mourinho come back to Chelsea for a third time, just for the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, look, they want to do this long-term project thing at Chelsea, which at this point just seems to be signing young players to incredibly long contracts. But I think you do need someone that'll come in and, kind of shape the culture a little bit. So, like, I don't think you can necessarily do a Mourinho or a Conte.
Because of the duration that they want?
Yeah, not to say it has to be the one manager that, sees out this long-term project, but I think you at least want to maybe start with someone who wants to build something rather than, a Conte, Mourinho. Like, they're more the immediate success kind of managers. Like, they don't really stick around to build this huge thing that, will last for phases and phases of a team.
My argument to that is, then why fire Potter?
Well, that's the thing. Is like, clearly this season wasn't going necessarily to plan.
But it wasn't about this season. It was supposed to be. I mean, hey, that's what I'm saying. So, like, why not bring in a guy like Conte or Mourinho? Say they just do him back. Say we got Mourinho for 2 years and then Conte for 2 years. I get that changeover is not good for a club, but they are so wishy-washy on what they want. You're just not going to find success in that when you're getting rid of managers who you're committing to for 7 years, and then you're like, oh, it didn't work out. Let's bring in another one. It's like, what if another one doesn't work out for the next 7 months? It's like, are you going to bring in another one after that? It's just wild to me, and maybe because new owner, American owner. We've talked about this before. The mindset for him, if we're comparing it to his baseball team, it's just going to have to be parallel, and it's going to take time. Dodgers didn't win it the first or second year. He was taking over with a new manager. So for me, why would you get rid of this manager who was at least in the same ballpark as what you had in the Major League Baseball? And it's just mind-boggling to me that they would change this up now, not even give it one more season. Because the worst thing that could happen to them is them getting relegated. I don't think that would be possible with their club.
No,
I don't think so. So
I don't think that was a threat. I think for any manager would have been a difficult season. Like, you're coming into new owners who can say they have this long-term vision, but like, you just spent $2.5 billion or whatever to buy this club. Like, you want to see some success pretty quickly. Plus the other like $600 million you spent on players and stuff. Mm-hmm. So like, you've spent a lot of cash. You want to see some return on that investment pretty quickly. But in doing that, you signed a lot of new players, a new coach. Like, it's a lot of new and like unknowns that have to kind of come together and find out what works. I think Potter's only real downfall here was that it seemed like there was no kind of clear vision of what he wanted from his team, or the kind of system he wanted to use.
Yeah.
But I mean, to say like he should go, I don't know. It feels maybe a little bit harsh, but I don't know. And they maybe have someone lined up and, just take advantage of the opportunity, and whether it's a Mourinho or someone, just try and get Chelsea back into the top 4 kind of realm next season, and long-term project, so you can take a year off, I guess.
I mean, for our radar, we noticed that Potter was not having a great start, but we were never thinking he would get fired just because of what Chelsea was trying to do. We had Rodgers on our radar. We had Lampard. We had Gerrard. We had Conte, Moyes. Moyes is still hanging on by his claws. And then Vieira, we didn't see that one coming. A Bournemouth coach got fired. Jesse Marsh got fired. Keep it going. Did Southampton? They lose their? They did, right?
Yeah, they did.
Southampton lost theirs. I think that's it.
That might be it.
That's crazy. That's so many. So, it's a half. Is that 9? I think I did 9.
Yeah, close to half at least. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I think the Chelsea manager position, like, probably still has a lot of pull because it is a big team. You're going to get paid well. But if you are that kind of builder manager, you like want to come in and instill like a culture and vision and all this. Like, I don't know if you take Chelsea seriously with that, because if Potter was the guy they thought could do this, okay, maybe he isn't the guy, but like, to give him most of a season to figure it out is like not a lot of time, really. You go back and look at our Arteta's first season, like, it's gonna be rocky. It's a change of style, a change of culture, a change of a lot of different aspects of the club. Granted, Arteta was able to get a FA Cup at the end of that, but that's largely thanks to Aubameyang and Bernd Leno just like doing their best to keep the team up and alive, and did. So you either commit to a long-term project, take a rough season or two, and then maybe reevaluate, or you just stick with the normal Chelsea, roundabout of manager of, well, you didn't win enough this season, so you got to go. And I don't know.
I just like to go on the merry-go-round. You know what position Liverpool finished in when they had Klopp for the first year?
No, but I would guess like a 5th or something.
8th, which I'm pretty sure that's what Arteta's first year was, right? 8th?
Yeah, Arteta, I think, had 2 8th place finishes. So, I mean,
it's the instant gratification, Chad. Everyone wants results now. And you know what?
I get it, but like, that's just not how it works.
I would take an 8th place year and then give me Champions League finals 4 out of the 5 years.
Yeah.
And like, who wouldn't?
And that's the thing too with Chelsea. Like, they're still in the Champions League.
I know they can end up going to the final. It's ridiculous, dude.
And at this point, they probably will go to the final just because it's like
destiny. This what happened with Tuchel, right?
Yeah, like it just they can have a shitty season, but somehow just like walk their way to the Champions League final, and they probably will because that's how the script writers made this season,
It'll be such a shame, dude, if they go to the final and say win it. Like, oof. I would fly to Cancun if I was Potter.
Yeah, why not? Take a little vacay. He's probably got paid out real nice, so
I imagine so. All right, you want to talk about Arsenal and how beautiful they looked?
Yeah, let's get into that. I mean, look, I was a little nervous coming into this game. Post international break, there's always that weird little hangover of, I don't know, just you haven't been with a team for a week or two.
Yeah, I agree.
It just gets weird, and I think we kind of saw that in the first half. Like, Arsenal did not look so great. Leeds had some pretty decent chances. I think they probably should have at least got 1 goal early on. Luckily didn't. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I think Arsenal really turned it on, especially second half. Jesus, I think, is a little bit lucky on the penalty.
Yeah, you can say that.
For me, it felt like I think it was Luke Ayling was already on the ground. His leg was high in the air, but Jesus kind of runs into it.
It was smart.
It was smart, definitely.
But
so lucky to get the actual call, I think. But you take those, and he put it away. So there you go.
It was almost like he took when you grab someone else's arm and you throw it in your face. You're like, dude, why'd you hit me? That reminded me of that kind of a little bit. He was like,
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Jesus ran into his leg. It didn't go the other way around.
Yeah.
But good to see him scoring.
Yeah, it got 2 goals, 1 from open play, 1 from the penalty. So that's good after coming back from the injury. So, I mean, Arsenal's going to need him to be firing in all cylinders for the run in here. So, another assist for Trossard. Would have liked the clean sheet, but
yeah, Ramsdale's a little mad about it.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, Leeds had some good options early on. Like, they were maybe unlucky to not have a goal from the first 30 minutes anyway. So that's okay. 4-1 still a good result. I added it to the goal of the week only because I wanted to make sure I talked about it. But Xhaka's goal, the header was beautiful, but really Martin Odegaard's pass on this is just incredible.
On the money.
I don't know. I can't imagine having that skill of being able to perfectly place a pass through the air like that.
From distance. It was not. He was far.
Yeah. And exactly where it needed to be. It's incredible.
Yeah, it was. I think when he hit the ball, it just looked so good flying through the air. I was like, oh, someone's gonna get there. Someone's gonna get there. And of course, I was like, damn, man, for Arsenal, dude, they were just rolling. Pep came out and said, Arsenal. This is total mind games, but he was like, Arsenal's not dropping any more points this season. And I was like, you would say that right now. You freaking would. Pep was a monster on the sideline. I know we're backtracking, but be worried about him. Be worried about his antics. He'll be saying a bunch of stuff in the near future to try to distract Arsenal.
Arsenal still got to go away to Liverpool,
Yeah,
which
boy, we got to talk about that.
is still going to be a good test. Away to Newcastle, who have been performing well at home. Go away to City. Like, there's still some big teams that they got to face away. So I mean, it's not a for sure thing yet. It's still kind of that game by game basis, but they keep the 8-point gap on Manchester City right now. They have a game in hand, so could play out maybe to 5, but still a nice gap. But I still think kind of just as important right now is that goal differential is now down to 2. So it's that could come into play here depending on how the games go. So you need to kind of stay on that and win the games you're supposed to, and if you can bust out a draw away to City at least, like, that'll be good. I don't know. I'm still just not trying to get ahead. There's fewer games, so like I'm getting more excited, but like trying to stay level-headed and just look at the next game and hope it goes well.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how nervous are you? All right, let me rephrase that. How confident are you going into the weekend against Liverpool?
I'm gonna say right now.
Yeah, today.
Right now, I'm feeling like a 7.
Okay, 7. That number is just popping up everywhere in the last couple of months.
Just because Liverpool got Chelsea midweek, Arsenal don't play midweek, so they got the rest bonus.
What makes this number go up?
Go up?
Yeah. Anything?
I don't know if it would go up.
Liverpool gets thumped 4-0 by Chelsea.
No, because then I'm always
You're staying 7?
A comeback game.
Okay, let me rephrase. How does this number go down?
Number goes down. If Liverpool look really good midweek, then that would probably make me more nervous.
So if we beat Chelsea 4-0.
Yeah, for sure, I'd be more nervous. I mean, I'm already like cautious about it just because going away to Liverpool in recent seasons has not been a great spot for Arsenal. But teams were vastly different for a few seasons.
Yeah,
now,
but Anfield, it's not even Liverpool. Yeah. Anfield just lives in Arteta's head.
Yeah, so I mean, we got the win against Liverpool at home, which was the first, win against Liverpool in quite a few seasons now.
Was that 3-1? Was that 3-0?
3-1, I believe.
It was 3-1.
But yeah, still winning away at Anfield is a big question mark if it can be done. So, I don't know. Like, Saliba has his back injury now that has no return date, but Arsenal and Arteta have been pretty tight-lipped on injury timelines all season, so he could be ready to go, and they just don't want to reveal that, or it could be a longer-term deal. So I don't know. The more I talk about it, I feel like my number's dropping.
Well, maybe this number can drop a little more. It was 3-2 last time around. Y'all won off a PK 3-2 from Saka.
Yeah. It was one of those weird PKs. Yep. My foot just barely got there first.
It all comes rushing back to me.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's. I think Arsenal have won 7 in a row in the league, so in good form. It's coming off the 4-1 win against Leeds. Still, it wasn't close, so that's a comfort. But just Anfield. Anfield is kind of like Everton playing at home. Like, the crowd is so much a part of that team and that experience that they are the 12th man, right? Like, and they make their presence known, and we'll see if Arteta can beat the voodoo and get something done.
I'm excited.
I'm just saying, if you don't want City to win the title again, do us a solid.
Yeah. We're trying to get Champions League too, so we'll maybe call it a draw. Maybe. That's next Sunday, 8:30 for you, 10:30 for me. So prime time, no 4 a.m. games, which is beautiful. What else we missing? We
I mean, we got to talk this Brighton.
Yes, the Brighton Brentford. Holy moly! For two teams that have played pretty, what's the right word here? Secure doesn't sound like a good word, but focused, locked down. No bullshit. They played free. They said, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's fucking win us a game, and they both tried really damn hard to go win a game. I think it felt like a win for both of them, even though it was a draw. It was just like it just felt so evenly matched, and as a neutral, it was just so freaking fun.
My gosh, yeah, I was. Unfortunately, this was going on during the Arsenal game, so I was more focused on that. But I kept seeing the score updates, and it was like, all right, Brentford took the lead. That's, I was kind of hoping Brighton would, and it was like 1-1, and it was like 2-1, 2-2. And
so
just
fast.
kept going back and forth. I was like, what is going on over there? But I mean, yeah, like it was such a fun game from a neutral perspective. Both teams going at it, both teams, making defensive mistakes, and it's just one of those games where like it's exciting from start to finish. There was no downtime.
I mean, those teams are identical on the table now. Brentford having way more draws, but I mean, if you were to ask me what team I'd want right now to build a future with, they're like neck and neck. I probably lean Brighton's way a little bit, as they're a little bit younger, a little bit more raw. But man, like those teams, dude, if they just get like one or two more pieces, I don't know from where. I mean, most likely they probably both need just one more attacking presence, maybe a strong winger. They're so versatile.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna come under the issue of like, can they hang on to their players? Because Tony's been maybe not most consistent, but is getting the goals. So I think bigger teams will look at him in the summer. Brighton, Matoma's been a spark. Solly March has been great. McAllister in the midfield has been a key player all season. Like if they can hopefully hang on to majority of their team and fill in the right gaps. If you're a Chelsea, I'm gonna say Liverpool, Man United, like next season you're maybe looking at more competition, right, for those Champions League and Europa League places. Like we'll see.
McAllister on Liverpool would be amazing. Definitely something that they would want. As far as their wingers go, I mean, so here's my kind of thing with Tony. I don't think he'll stay with Brentford. I think he kind of wants to take that next step, especially after getting the World Cup snub. I think he can fill in as a Harry Kane replacement for Tottenham. I think Chelsea needs someone like him. They can definitely come knocking. And I think if Man U doesn't get their guy, he's obviously way better than Weghorst. I just think he has those teams written all over him. Liverpool, they're not going to go for him. But you could see someone like I'm just trying to think of teams who are maybe struggling right now but shouldn't be where they are. And I'm talking about, like, call me crazy, but if West Ham stays up, I feel like he could slot in there perfectly. They have, West Ham shouldn't be where, again, they really shouldn't be where they are. It's wild to me, but they just don't have a goal scorer. So he could be really interesting there, but I do think it'd be one of the big six, if anything.
Yeah, I think Tony will definitely move. I mean, Arsenal were looking at Caicedo in the January window, so I don't know if they'll go back for that, but other reports say they're going all in on Declan Rice. So
wow,
that could. Rice is probably the better option. I don't know. I mean, it just kind of depends what their owners want to do. If they want to try and fight for the top, or if they are okay being the kind of just sell for a high price and then we rebuild and go again and end up where we end up, sort of thing. But I mean, I think if you're any of the top 6 teams or around there, you're looking at their players, maybe some Villa players, maybe some Fulham players to snatch up, and you have the Premier League experience, and with a better system and better coaching, you can bump them up to the quality needed and make something happen.
Fulham for sure, since they're on such a downward trend. Mitrovic might go back to being the villain for a Man United. Kind of fits him perfectly. I'd actually be kind of happy if he went there, because then I could just hate them even more. But yeah, Brentford, Brighton, teams to watch as we continue to get towards the end of the season. Mm-hmm. Kind of fan favorites, both of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like them two, and I think maybe Villa are like the ones where it's like, don't win against my team, but like every other game you can win, like
for sure.
I'm supporting, but I don't really want to talk about the Bournemouth Fulham game, but there is my goal of the week contender in there. So,
the Pereira?
No, the from Tavernier.
Oh, yeah.
Curls it from top of the box.
Damn, that's your one. You're going to go with that one?
It's up there. Michael Keane makes a good, attempt.
See, I like the Pereira one.
Pereira?
Yeah, that was my shout for that game. I have 5 nominations. I'm sorry, 4 nominations. No, I lied. It was 5. Salah's in there, but I'm not giving. I just had to say it because it was sweet. Are we at that point? We did them all, right?
Not necessarily. No, I mean the only other one was Forest and Wolves.
Oh yeah, kind of a
West Ham and Southampton.
Kind of a snoozer. Jose Sa's not playing awesome lately. Kind of looks out of his comfort zone. We still don't have a goal by a Wolverhampton striker. This is a wonderful stat that we're just going to continue to track. Because I'm looking at every Wolves game to see who scored, and I'm just like, oh, wasn't a forward.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, those are lower. I guess important games when they're drawing, it's like, it's
Yeah.
Southampton, they're continuing their, I guess, downward trajectory.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't even think West Ham looked that great. It's just
no, they didn't.
They were able to get a goal, which
bare minimum is what they did.
Yeah,
literal bare minimum. With the help of Fabianski, of course. That guy has been kind of on a mission this year to make sure this team does not fall. But going through stats and everything of that team, it was just kind of embarrassing to see like who was doing what. It's not a lot.
Yeah, I mean they're just putting along, trying to survive, and I think they'll be okay. But I mean, considering where they were last season, fighting up in the top 6 and stuff, and like,
boy, what a turnaround!
Yeah.
All right, let's bust it out, Chad. Goal of the week, player of the week, team of the week. Let's start with goal, because I feel like we kind of set our nominations.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a tough one.
Yeah.
Context or style?
I mean, they both kind of have good context to it, right? Like, Bournemouth get an important win for their survival.
Yep.
Everton get an important draw. I think maybe you take like competition into it. Everton's goal is maybe a little bit bigger since you're playing a top 4 team. And I mean Michael Keane's a defender, so I'd probably lean to Keane.
Yeah, I mean that goal was just pulled out of nowhere. That's kind of like no one expected him to shoot that ball. I think only Keane did, and with that little bit of space he got, I mean Hugo didn't move. He didn't move, and when the keeper doesn't move, that means he didn't expect it. And when you can get it in a top corner ish, I'm all for it. This is Everton back-to-back weeks, though. Woo!
I mean, look.
Dang.
fighting to survive, so they're pulling out some good stuff.
They got to pull out the bangers. I'm down to give it to MK.
Yeah.
Shout out to Michael Keane. That's also my former boss's name, so it's kind of weird to be talking about it here. But from a man who is not playing for months to now scoring goals against, top 4 teams, pretty sweet. And get his ankles crunched minutes prior, absolutely crunched. So his leg still works. We'll give it to MK. All right, player. This is where the fun begins, Chad. Player. Who you got? Oh, you want me to go? I'll start, or at least give my nominations.
Yeah.
Well, Gabriel Jesus, 2 goals. A brace with the PK. Of course, that's an awesome thing to coming back from injury. Do I think he has a hat trick possibly in him for the rest of the season? Yes, I think there's a chance. Do I think that we should give it to him this week? Maybe. I'm really on the fence with it.
Yeah.
My other nomination is Emi Martinez. Clean sheet, 2-0, 7 saves, 2 claims. And then my other one, call me crazy, David Raya, 11 saves in that game. Now, shots were flying everywhere. I want to recognize some keepers. And if he doesn't save one of those shots, that's a different ball game, and someone's moving up. So I want to give it to those 3 guys and see where you take it.
Yeah. The only other one that I want to add is Jack Grealish. A goal, an assist, 3 shots on target. He was a little bit of a menace out there for Liverpool, but Liverpool's defense just wasn't really working.
Yeah.
So, maybe makes it a little bit easier than it should have been. I'd agree, Jesus, we could probably wait on. If this was 2 goals from open play, then I think that's a different conversation. But
right,
the penalty goals is like, it's a goal, it counts, but it's not as exciting.
Yep.
I'd be down to go with one of the keepers.
Or we do our defensive player. Now's not a bad time because Grealish, KDB, the whole city.
Yeah,
oh,
I
God,
almost went
KDB
because he was also, I think a goal and an assist as well. But like he's a known quantity, whereas like Jack Grealish is a little bit not unknown, but you don't always see him lighten up the stat line and stuff. So,
yep, he was a menace. Yeah. He really was.
I'd be down to do Grealish for player of the week, and then between the 2 keepers for defensive.
Well, I would lean towards Emi. The clean sheet is like...
That's kind of what I was thinking. Clean sheet away from home. You knocked Chelsea out of 10th place finally.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd probably go there. Emi for defensive player.
Hell yeah. Emi Martinez. Finally made it. I was waiting for the right time to do this, not just... It finally, it came to me. Like, it shouted itself out. And now team. It's a tough one.
Now team.
Tough one.
I got Villa on my list.
Yep, me too. That kind of is that's where my head is telling me to go.
Yeah, like they played well. Again away from home, knock out Chelsea, who haven't had the best season, but historically are one of the top teams. My other one was Palace. While their overall performance maybe wasn't necessarily team of the week worthy, like they did have like 20 shots in the first half. Like they got at the late winner. New manager, returning manager.
Again.
So, they put in some good work. My other option was Newcastle.
Yeah, me too.
Just that top 3, 4, 5 battle is going to be pretty interesting to watch, and they looked as between the 3 how they all performed this weekend. I think Newcastle looks clear favorite of those 3 to take the top or the number 3 spot. So those are my picks. I don't know.
I really like the Castle pick just because they kind of played a close to perfect game. Like, at what point in that game were you like, oh, they screwed up there? You can't really pinpoint anything.
No, yeah. And I don't know if that's. I mean, it's probably a little bit of both of them kind of just silencing United's attack and then United just like not doing much. But they took advantage of their opportunities, and it's a good win. Definitely, they dominated.
But on the flip side, we could also give it to Everton. Like,
I thought about it. If they would have got the win here, I think.
Yeah, that would have solidified it.
Yeah.
City going 4-1 against Liverpool didn't do it for you?
No.
Why, business as usual?
Not business as usual, but Liverpool this season is just a different team. If this was a season or two ago where they were both duking it out constantly, and then you pull out this big victory, it feels a lot more important, impactful. But yeah, I mean, same thing with Arsenal versus Leeds. Like, they should be beating Leeds. Like, 4-1's a good margin, but not unexpected, I guess.
Well, I think I'm gonna lean towards Palace just because it broke the streak. New manager. I hate saying it, but like, they lost.
They're gonna survive.
I didn't say that. I just feel like this was the team of the week because they showed that they will not give up. Just because you won't give up doesn't mean you won't get relegated. But to do it again with the manager that they've had twice already before, becomes now the oldest manager again in the Premier League.
Like,
did I read that right? Was that what the stat said? It was like Roy Hodgson becomes the oldest manager, beating out previous Roy Hodgsons, and it was just so he has the 3 new team oldest person leading the squad. That's so wordy, but that's what it says. It said those things. All right, if you're down for Palace, we'll hook. Yeah. We can hook Palace up because who knows?
Like, I feel like we got a good mix. Like, we had a few weeks where it was a lot of the same teams, same player, same club sort of deal. But now we got Everton, City, Villa, Palace.
Yep.
I like it.
It's a lot of posts, but be ready for it. Sweet. Anything else? How did Sac Republic do last weekend?
Oh, man. They blew out Louisville City.
5-0? 5-0,
yeah. Not exactly sure what's going on with Louisville City, but they're typically one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. So, I mean, I don't know if this season they lost some players or what, or if it's just the time difference played an issue in their performance, but they just did not look good, and Sac Republic kind of jumped all over them. So that was nice to watch. Sac Republic starts their Open Cup run this Wednesday.
Oh, so, baby, return to the final.
Shooting for the final, yeah.
Yeah, let's get it at home though. Is that possible?
Technically, but
there'd have to be like no MLS teams.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, just the quick little tidbit of Everton under financial fair play investigation. Yes. Kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I didn't see any talk about it before it was announced. Basically, Premier League's financial fair play, it's a 3-year rolling period. You can't have losses that exceed £105 million.
Okay.
So technically this is a 4-year period because they combined the 1920 and 2021 seasons because of COVID. In that time, Everton posted losses of £286 million, which is almost double the allowed amount. So they're under investigation, I think, for that, but it seems it's almost maybe more related to the losses they reported that are due to COVID. They reported it as £170 million which is higher than any other club reported. So I think that's maybe where the real investigation stems from, is like, how do you lose more than, bigger teams or teams of similar stature? So yeah, we'll kind of see how it plays out. It seems like this might move quickly compared to the Man City one. I don't know. I mean, and Everton is already, in the relegation battle. So if you go down, you lose a lot of money. If you get, punished for this, whether it's a transfer ban or another points deduction or something, or I don't know, it could get real ugly for Everton.
Could you imagine if they punished them harder than City? And like,
that's the thing too. Is
it's
like
crazy.
I think City's the real enemy here.
And,
unfortunately, I think it might be one of those where Everton gets really hit with the stick, and City, with their army of lawyers, gets a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, so we'll look through the paperwork. Like,
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
I'll pay attention to that.
I mean, I know Everton's trying to build their new stadium or expand or something. So I don't know if they were trying to do some, fancy financial work and include part of that as like COVID losses to write off or something. So we'll see.
That could get interesting.
One to keep an eye on for sure.
Alrighty, well, busy week of footy. Notable games.
A lot of makeup games.
A lot of games. Hopefully, we're getting back on track here. But the Brentford Man U on Wednesday will be I think kind of a must watch. Liverpool Chelsea on Tuesday.
You think it's going to be a good game? Or is it going to be just like a shit show?
I mean, they played a game a couple weeks ago and it was a shit show, so I don't really expect much different. I'm being completely honest. I don't expect I don't expect anything anymore. But if you want me to expect something, I would prefer probably a 1-0 victory off some scrappy goal. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably gonna watch Aston Villa play Leicester just to kind of see how do they bounce back? Does Villa keep this thing rolling? I think that'll be a good one. And then in the weekend, we'll be hooking up probably Sunday morning, last game of the. Maybe we just go straight in after the game, straight into our podcast. That way, feelings are fresh. We'll do some beer mosas.
Beer mosas, all right.
Yeah, beer mosas on a Sunday.
Yeah, a lot of games coming real quick this week, so
I'm excited. Then we're in the stretch.
Yeah, it's getting down to the wire here.
All right, Chad. With that, episode Dirty 30 is complete. 30 down, 300 more to go.
That's it.
Until next Sunday at 8:30 Pacific Time, 10:30 Central Time. I will check you later. Hooligans, bitch. We're out. Peace.